Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hello and welcome if you are also new to the channel. So a massive hello to you. Hope you are enjoying the content here. My name is Madison and I live in Thurrock, Essex, UK with my husband Ralph and my 16-year-old son Joey. This is a podcast for all different types of crafting. So I am multi-crafter. I'm also a textiles teacher, so fabric and fibre, anything goes really. Where can you find me? So you can find me on usual channels, mainly on Instagram. I post a lot more to my personal page than I do to the account linked to this podcast. So you can find me over at the House of Langford and at Overall Sews. I'm also on Ravelry if you're able to access Ravelry. I know they are tweaking things in the background, so hopefully that will become a little bit more accessible in the coming months, I guess. I am at MadX Stitcher over there, and you'll find all my projects in the projects page, and yeah, basically anything crochet and knit goes on there. So we're going to start off with a little bit of admin. So what do we think to my new organised shelf space? I got this from Amazon and had to put it together myself, and my printer literally just fits. It's very snug, but it just fits underneath, which means that all of the stuff that was on top of the printer no longer needs to sit on top of the printer, and I can actually use it. I have changed the wall features. So we used to have a frame that had lots of good luck messages on it from the first school I worked at. That's now on the opposite wall, and instead I have a notice board which I need to fill with lots of inspiring postcards and things. At the moment it's just postcards up there that I keep finding and little pictures that people have sent me. And then I've got a couple of frames here as well. This one says she believed she could, so she did. It is a foil print, but you can't see it because the light is reflecting it. I will take some pictures of the space so you can see what I've actually got up on the walls now. It's a little bit more creative for me. I've got one of the ribbons that I've won at a previous show before, and then this piece up here is actually a painting piece that I did using bleeding tissue paper. And the phrase says, "Your dream doesn't have an expiration date. Take a deep breath and try again." And at the moment I think I just need to take a deep breath and try again. So I've had a little bit of an organise, and hopefully it's a bit of a nicer backdrop moving forward. So at the top of the episode, I just want to say a huge thank you to Gemma of the Midnight Dyery and to Sophie of A Spring Snowflake podcasts. Thank you so much, because I've seen that you've given me some shout outs over the last few episodes of your own. Never thought I'd get to that point. Learning as always, so very much thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. My subscribers have actually grown a little bit as well this year, which I'm really surprised about. I didn't think they would. Well, I wanted them to grow, but I didn't think they'd grow that quickly. So, hi. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the episode proper, shall we? So first things first, my plans for January were, I keep looking that way because my notes are that way. So my plans were to complete Superstar Carebear, which I've now found out is called Champ Bear. Work on my Granny Box jumper. Complete Beach, which is a cross stitch pattern by Marina Budilnik, and complete part 3 of my Sophies Universe. I've done 2 out of 4. And 2 of them are what I'm going to start with first. So I'm going to start with cross stitch and hand sewing whips, FOs, and then we will move on into all the other different types of projects I've been working on. Now, if you've seen Gemma over at the Midnight Dyery, she has mentioned this already. We, back in, I think it was September or November. No, it can't be that late. September or October. Eva, who runs Perth Festival of Yarn, who is at Yarn Stash Curator on Instagram, led us all down a rabbit hole during one sip and stitch night, and we not many of us have finished, but I managed to do mine this month. So you've already seen this in progress, and I just love the colours. It's so pretty. All the colours blend together really nicely. It's all block colours, so there's no half stitches or fractionals. Yeah, and I think I'm actually going to frame it in a hoop because I've still got an indent where it was in the hoop previously, and there's dirt marks on the back where I was obviously holding it. So yes, that was Beach. It's all done in DMC thread. I have used, I think, 16 count Aida, which is Zweigart. And for those of you who are here for floss tube, here is the back. Now I will admit it's not my neatest, but I just wanted to get it done in the end, and I'm really pleased with that one. So that is my first finish for February. That was my, was it first Feb finish over on Instagram. Thanks to Julia at Sparkle Julia for that one. So yeah, that is Beach by Marina Budilnik. And if you want to see what everyone else is working on, there is a Facebook group. I think it's now been changed to the Midnight Makers, where everyone has been posting progress pictures and the projects that they are working on over there. There are a lot of different projects. Her work is really pretty. She is at Cozy Evening Stitch over on Etsy. So I'll put all the details down below for you, and you can head over there and take a look at some more of her work. So still cross stitch now. I have one more piece that's finished, and it is another one of my aims for this month, and that is to finish Superstar Carebear, who is called Champ Bear. So I think I showed you before, I had the bear all complete last month, and this month I finished the star at the background, and it says Superstar now, and he's actually holding a little star, which I think is really cute. So he's got a little trophy on his belly, and yeah, so this is now the second one that I have completed. He was started in 2011. So both these cross stitch pieces that I finished this month actually go into the Radiant Whips cowl over on Instagram, which is being held by Nella, because they were both started before 2021. Yeah, I started him in 2011. I actually started 6. You've already seen Share Bear, which was Share a Smile last year sometime. I think it might have been April. I will find out, and I will link it up above so you can find the other one I did. Yeah, I have 4 more to do. And here's the back. This one is a lot neater than the last one. But yeah, so that is Superstar Carebear, or Champ Bear. And I put a post up on Instagram and Facebook and asked people which one I should do next out of the 4, and it was Dreamtime Bear that came out top, so he will be next on my list. But I do have some other plans in terms of cross stitch for the next 100 days, so I will explain that all a little bit later. So still on hand sewing then, or embroidery, I've already shown you this little worry monster. He was made in January. He was a whip, as he was started last January in 2020. So he was finished last month and used as an example for my year 7s for the last couple of weeks. But I felt like I needed to record a tutorial for how to make these for my year 7s to use in lessons, because they're still not able to hear me very well on my laptop. So I'm hoping that once we're allowed back in school, then I'll be able to show them firsthand. But I did record a tutorial, which meant I needed to make another one. So we have a light pink one this time. He's got a very big pink mouth, and he has some teeth. So he has some teeth, and he also has some little horns. He's just made of felt. The back is plain, and he just uses running stitch and blanket stitch to put him together. And I think they're really fun. They're so easy and quick to make, especially when teaching for 11-year-olds. So yeah, I made another worry monster. Now I'm not sure if that will become a tutorial for you guys, mainly because it is for school, but I might do something similar at a later date. If you do want to try some hand sewing though, there are some Easter decorations up on my channel already in the tutorials. Again, they just use felt and embroidery thread, and if you've got buttons and ribbons and things like that, you can attach those too. So because it is now March, that would be really nice to make some more up of those ready for this Easter, because when I posted it last year, it was already Easter. I was a little bit late, but yeah, I'll pop a link over to there as well. I have actually found 3 ornaments from that tutorial, which I used as demo pieces when recording. So they also need to be finished, so they might be finished this month too, ready for next month. But yes, so let's move on. I have one more hand sewn piece, and that is a little speech bubble. It is a pin cushion, and it says ouch. So it just uses 2 pieces of white felt, and the template is actually from Love Embroidery magazine, which came out this month, so February. Let me find the magazine. Okay, this month's magazine. So this is Love Embroidery magazine, issue 11. So it comes with templates in the back of the book for you to photocopy or cut out. This is by Claire Albans. So that is my little pin cushion. It was really quick to make. I think it only took me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. The bit that takes the most amount of time is actually doing the embroidery for the word. But I'm rather pleased with it. I'm not sure if there's any other projects in this booklet, in this magazine, that I will actually make. I subscribed when we was at the Stitch Festival in Islington last year. It was the last festival that I went to before lockdowns started, and I think I was just in the moment and wanted to subscribe, so I was all hyped up on embroidery. But I just haven't used it. I've been focusing on other projects, so I'm thinking to simply cut my losses and focus on other projects. When there are plenty of things in here that I can use, and previous issues actually come with transfers, so you don't have to draw anything out. You can just iron on the transfer onto fabric and then follow that as your template. Yeah, but if you want to give it a go, this is Love Embroidery magazine. So that is it for cross stitch and hand sewing for this month. As I've already said, I will be working on a different project. Let's just tell you now. So as of March 1st, which it is today, I am going to be starting a 100-day project. Now I've seen it done, I was first made aware of it last year. Gemma from the Midnight Diary started the 100-day project, and she was working on a cross stitch piece that she had languishing as a whip, and I think it was almost half done. She finished it within those 100 days, and has since started another project for this year. And I have got 2 large projects that need finishing. One is mine, one is my aunt's, but I've barely touched it. And so yes, so I need to finish my one, which is almost done. It's so close to being done. Let me show you. You've already seen this actually in previous podcasts. It is my big cats, my 4 big cats on black Aida. So I can't do it of an evening because you just can't see it. And it is now at a point where, sorry for all the rustling, it is pretty much confetti. So confetti stitches. I only have the tiger to do. And I daren't show you the back because it's absolute mess. But I mean, I've already done the others. It just goes on and on. So yeah, I've already done the others. I can't even remember when I started this. I may have mentioned it on a previous podcast. But yeah, I only have the tiger left. And it's not going to take me with 100 days to complete this if I continue with the 100 days. So the aim is to work 1 hour a day on this cross stitch to get it finished. I am going to try and put it onto one of my frames. I have this one sitting around. It does just fit in terms of width. I think the frame I had before, he didn't fit on it, and that was causing issues. I keep calling it he. Anyway, the cross stitch didn't fit on my previous frame that I was using, so I took it all off and was just working on it by hand. But yeah, it's going to go back on that frame today, and hopefully an hour a day this will be finished. I don't think it'll be finished by the end of March, maybe the end of April. But yes, it shouldn't take me 100 hours to finish this. So I do have the other project ready to go, which is already on a frame, because that's how my aunt gave it to me. So if once this is finished, then I will move on to that one. So I'm still working on a big project, and then hopefully it will help me put quite a dent into both pieces. So that is my 100-day project. Yeah, so it's just an hour a day for 100 days. Last year I actually used there was a Kickstarter for 100 skeins, 100 one-of-a-kind skeins by Vicky Brown. And I got a lovely pink skein last year from her. So I've done that again this year. And there is also a crochet magazine coming out, which has also been funded. It is called Morit Magazine. If you want to know more about it though, I'm not very much clued in, but I have backed it because I think it is amazing. There's a lot of magazines out there for knitting, in terms of garments and other projects, but there isn't really one for crochet in terms of like indie designers and stuff. So this aims to bridge that gap. I mean, there's lots of crochet magazines out there, don't get me wrong, and I love all of them. But yeah, so Sophie Swan at A Spring Snowflake has talked at length about this magazine, so go and check her podcast out if you want a bit more information on it. I'm just excited to find a new magazine on the market. So that takes us into crochet quite nicely, if not a little bit convoluted, but yes. So crochet makes now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes, so let's get started. The first thing that I finished, I actually started on Valentine's Day, mainly because it was half term and I'm not wearing it because it's Aran yarn and it's warm, but I will pop it on to show you. So it is my Bobble Heart cardigan by Iron Lamb. It's got these lovely bobbles in the shapes of hearts onto both sleeves. The fronts are plain and so is the back. Yeah, let's pop it on. Okay, so I used Deramore's Studio Anti-Pilling Aran in the punch colourway. I had 6 balls of 1 dye lot, and I was so desperate to try and get it out of just these 6 balls. I made the medium, which requires 7. The small also requires 7. You don't use all of the 7th ball. I managed to do each sleeve from 1 ball. The back was 2 and a bit balls, and then each front was about 60 grams. It is a little bit wider on the shoulder, like on the neckline, than I would like. I'd like it a bit closer, so I might have to have a go at tweaking the pattern. But it's a nice length. It comes down to my hip, like high hip. Saw my leggings out. So yes, high hip. It's got this lovely rib texture all the way around. So you actually start at the rib on both the fronts and the backs, and then work up, and then at the very end, once it's all constructed, you pick up around the front band and create another rib. So this front band is actually a different dye lot, and on the camera it looks slightly paler. Now I thought it looked slightly paler when I saw it as in balls form, but actually it doesn't look any different. Whilst I'm wearing it, yeah, I keep pulling it, it's not quite round me enough, but I love the bobble texture. This is really nice. Yeah, so it's by Iron Lamb. It uses Aran yarn. I think I used a size 5mm hook. It is pieced. It's a pieced pattern. So you do the back first, 2 fronts, 2 sleeves, and then you seam it at the shoulders, attach the sleeves, and then you sew up down the arm and down the side. Now I have made a modification to this pattern, and that is under the arms. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. Can you see this little diamond shape? So I had to make gussets. I wasn't sure if the arms would fit me properly, so I made a diamond shape for each armhole as a gusset, and that just gives me a little bit more movement. So very pleased with that. I am going to add, I have written it up, I am going to add that as a note on the project page on Ravelry, so that will be over there. I just need to type it up properly. And yeah, so that is my bobble heart cardigan by Iron Lamb. So I'm going to keep this on for a little bit longer now. So my next project was actually a Crochet Society project. You've already seen it because it was in box 1 of Crochet Society. I started these maybe October, might have been before then, and it's the mittens. Now when I started them, I used the recommended hook. Oh, by the way, I finished this in a week. I finished it in half term, so I started on the 14th and finished on the 21st. So a cardigan in a week. I'm happy with that. I don't think I'm a fast crocheter either, but yeah, I enjoyed myself and I just didn't put it down. I solely worked on this. So once I finished the cross stitch projects and I finished the Worry Monster, I went straight onto this. Yeah. I know the Worry Monster was last week. Anyway, I was monogamous for those 3 projects. So anyway, let's show you these mittens. Okay, so when I first made these mittens, I used the hook size in the box, which I think, yes. So it uses a 3.5 hook. It is from box 1, and they were too small. When I put one on, I couldn't actually meet it here where you're supposed to meet it to stitch it together. So I went up a hook size and I went to a size 4mm, and I used my dragon hook from Pedro's Plaques, which I absolutely love. It's got a lovely weight to it, and actually I can grip it quite nicely. Whichever way I decide to grip it, it fits in my hand really nice. So that is my trusty 4mm. These use Bo Peep Luxury DK. This is the colourway Tin Man, which came with the box. I did also buy an extra ball from Louisa Sherwood at the Fibre Lounge D-Stash, which I think is actually this one because I still had the other one attached. But yeah, so I made 2 new mittens, and then I had to frog the original one, and let's pop them on. They fit quite nicely actually. The ribbon is a bit loose on my wrist, but it sits over my bracelets and my Fitbit quite nicely, so I don't mind. So those, how do you show off your hands? So yes, those are my mint. They're called mint mittens because you're supposed to alternate. So the bobbles and the star stitch are supposed to be in the mint colourway, which is called Seahorse. But a friend of mine just suggested doing them all in grey, so that is what I've done, and that's all out of one ball. There is a teeny tiny amount left, so much so that it doesn't actually weigh anything. It doesn't even register as 1 gram. Yes, I have managed to complete both of my mittens. I love this little feature here around the thumb as well. And I've got different stitch counts on both thumbs, but I don't care. But yeah, those are my mittens. They're really quick to make actually. They didn't take me long at all once I'd changed my hook size. The star stitch is really intuitive. That's the first time I've used star stitch before. But yeah, so they didn't take very long at all. They took maybe a couple of days to get those worked up, maybe a third day. They're nice and soft. So Bay Peep Luxury DK is actually part wool. So it's 52% Falkland wool and 48% nylon. And it does recommend a 4mm hook. So it's 50 grams, 112 meters. So I got a whole pair of mittens from one colourway. So I was really impressed with that. So yeah, that is my second crochet make for this month. But it didn't stop there. This month's box for Crochet Society was box 20. The green one. It is where this frame came from. So this letters frame. And each, I've got all the letters here. So you can change the messages on it. Box 20 was all about creating your craft space, or at least decorating your craft space. So it has 3 patterns in it. I will pop a link. I'll try and link it up here actually, to the box opening I did for this. I wasn't that impressed when I first opened it, but it's grown on me and I've seen other people's makes, so that always helps. Now that the live unboxing has gone up. So yeah, I did one of the patterns. Anyway, I don't know where the hook's gone, but it uses a 6.5 hook. And I've used the Bella Coco Crochet Charmed Chunky, which came in the box. I've only used one ball. And this is 85% acrylic, 5% mohair, and 10% wool. So it's nice and fluffy. And it's called Spell. So I've used the lighter of the 2 colours. And rather than use the 2 colours that came in the box, so rather than use Potion, which is a purple, I decided, because this is chunky yarn, to use some chunky that I had in my stash, which was rainbow. Good vibes and all that. So I have made the banner from box 20. So the rainbow is James C. Brett Party Time. Hopefully you can see what it actually says. I did have an issue getting the technique right for the word vibes, because you start at the bottom and work your way up. But good's okay. And then what I've done is just got my husband to cut down a piece of dowel that I had, and then I have created a chain. I've done 7 chain and then double crocheted into the back of a stitch, 3 stitches, every 3 stitches. So 7 chain, double crochet, 7 chain, double crochet, and then just looped it around the dowel. So that is going to hang above my notice board. I was hoping to put it across here, but then I wanted to elevate stuff, so this is going to go right at the top. I'm really pleased with that. I have tried to block it, but it's still curling, so I might have to soak it and block it properly. I just tried to steam block it, but I think because of the wool content it does need a proper blocking. So that's my Good Vibes banner. Let's have a look at the book. Who is this one by? This is by Crochet Hooks and Magic, who are on Instagram, and you can see that it uses the purple for the lettering, but I wasn't sure that the purple would actually show up because the colours are actually quite similar. It's not massively similar, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, so I've chosen to do it with the rainbow, and I'm really pleased with it actually. I wasn't sure, and I did struggle a little bit with getting the wording to show up properly, but what I've also done is change the border. So I've just done a very simple double crochet all the way around. The pattern actually calls for crab stitch, and despite my enthusiasm last month for crab stitch, I just didn't want to put it on this. I wanted a nice crisp clean edge instead of the bobbles. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this one. And I've got one more project to show you, which I actually finished last night. So I picked up a crochet magazine called Your Crochet and Knitting, and you can probably see why. So I don't know what month this is. This is issue 23, and it came with a yarn kit. So it came with six balls of yarn, and all have got this Pusheen ball bands. So it is 4-ply yarn, and I have made Pusheen. So I think he's really cute. He kind of reminds me like of a potato cat, but if you've played Exploding Kittens, you'll know what I mean by potato cat. Yeah, I'm not sure he's got quite a happy face, but I'm pleased with him. He came out really well. And oh my god, 4-ply is tiny. At one point I didn't think it was actually going to grow, but yeah. So I have made Pusheen. So the stripes are all attached on after. His tail is attached after. The hat, there is actually an ear underneath the hat. You just slide the hat on top and then crochet around, attach it around. So you could leave the hat off. And it's got safety eyes as well. And actually this also appeared in issue 62 of Crochet Now before Christmas. And he has a different hat. He has a red and white hat in the middle, like a little party Christmas Santa hat. But it is the same pattern, except in issue 62 it suggests using Aran yarn, which means he ends up about this big. And I have seen one, and I think I might have preferred to do the Aran yarn, but needless to say, he was really, really cute and quick to make up last night. So I actually started him Saturday and got the potato bit done of the cat and his ears, but had to put on his tail, his stripes, and attach everything together basically today. So yesterday. So that's what I've done. But yeah, that is my Pusheen. He was made in less than 24 hours. So that is it for finished makes. It's time to move on to my whips. I only have two. I have two whips this month. One is knitting and one is crochet. And I also have something else to mention to you as well. You may have noticed I've got a little jar here. This is just a bracelet sitting on top, which has got some odd balls of yarn. I also have another jar. I have this one. This has got all my ends in. There's probably a bit more of the punch in there than I would like. But yeah, so during one of our sip and stitch nights, I noticed that Sparkle Julia, has got a jar, and when she's trimming off ends and stuff, they go into her jar. And I used to do this when I cross stitched a lot. We used to call it a totally useless stitch along, because all you did was put your scraps into a jar. And obviously if you're cross stitching, that's very fine thread. It takes a long time to fill that jar, but yarn's a bit thicker. So yeah, and I know you can use this for stuffing and things like that when you get to other projects and Amigurumi and stuff. So I think I'm going to continue to fill this up. There is only one thing missing from this jar, and that is the yarn from my Christmas socks, because I think I binned the scraps from that. Everything else that I have worked on this year, so 2021, the scraps are in this jar. Nothing else has been thrown away that I can remember. Just the Christmas sock yarn. So I'm going to continue to fill this up throughout the year, and we'll see how far we go. Now this jar is actually one of the jars used from my wedding. We had lots of random different sized jars on tables with ribbons, all different colours, and our flowers were in these jars, so it also holds a memory for me too. Okay, so whips. Like I said, I've got two. One of these I was working on when I filmed the last podcast, January's podcast, but didn't show you because I didn't feel it was right to. because it was being worked on in February. So I am using, this is a knitting project, I'm using Hayfield Bonus Chunky. There's the ball band. So it says Hayfield Bonus Chunky Extra Value 100 grams. It's machine washable and tumble dry. It has 137 meters approximately, and I'm just using a grey at the moment. So this is a pattern by Gemma of the Midnight Dyery. It is a knitting pattern, and it's basically a way of learning different stitches. So I'm not overly confident in my knitting or creating patterns in my knitting anyway. I can knit and I can purl, and I've just on this project started learning how to knit continental knitting. So we've got some rows of garter, and then I've got this panel in the middle of stockinette. And what I realised was that I was doing my purls slightly differently. So my purl rows kind of twist, but I think if I did my knit rows the same, both would twist. But it means I get to experiment now, because I didn't realise I was doing that until afterwards. But it's really nice actually. I quite like the texture of it. It's not flat, but I don't mind. So anyway, this is my next bit is ribbon. So this is a a knitted cowl. So each panel is a different stitch technique. Yeah, and it just goes all around. And I think the idea is you use two balls and that's it of the chunky. And I couldn't decide on colours, so I actually bought like a terracotta red colour as well. So that is the knitting project I'm working on. I don't knit very often, and as you saw last month, I did rip back that shawl because I'm not confident to do it. But I'm hoping this will help me get there. So Gemma, I'm after your expertise to help me get my knitting to the point where I can do things like lace. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to working on that a little bit more. I'm hoping to get at least a square done a month, like a panel a month, so I learn a different stitch technique each month. Yeah, so I finished the stockinette. Next one is ribbon, and for that I'm also using a 6.5 knitting needle, so nice and chunky knitting needles. I think I borrowed these from work because there is a huge stash of knitting needles at work. They will go back to work after, obviously. Yes, 6.5 for my chunky cow. And that is currently living, which has my logo. Well, not my logo, but it has branding on it for the House of Langford. So this is actually from Craft Schmoots, Gemma of Craft Schmoots. I've done a whole video of hers before. So she does business stationery and accessories. So yeah, I really like it. It's got a lot of use. It does need a wash. So my next whip at the moment is crochet, and it is my Sophie. I wanted to try and get part 3 complete, and as of last night I've done round 20, and in part 3 there are 25 rounds, so I've got 5 more rounds to finish for part 3. I'm hoping to do that this week. I think I might adopt the same sort of method as my cross stitch and do an hour a day on Sophie and an hour a day on my cross stitch, just to see if I can get this finished as well. It won't be finished within the 100 days, I know that. This is part of the Sophie's blanket finish along, so Sophie at a Spring Snowflake, Sophie Swan. Yeah, so this is part of the blanket finish along and the I Blame Sophie Swan hashtag. And I started this in January when she mentioned finishing Sophie's, so I don't know if I'll finish it this year. I've already discussed this with you guys, but I'll give it a good shot. And yeah, I mean, Laura Devlin over on Instagram, she has started one as well. she's already ahead of me. I need to play catch up, and she's using ice yarns, I think. So I'll have to check out her Instagram and see what is over there. But yeah, I'm working on my Sophie. So let's show you where I'm currently at. So it is living in my, I have upgraded the bag. It was in my Vivian bag, my patchwork Vivian bag. I have since upgraded it to my botanical yarns bag, which I got, I think, Yorkshire Yarn Fest last year. I have got an I Like Big Balls pin badge on the front. I think that's from the Pretty Sticker Company. I can't remember. I will find out and pop it down below. I also have a panda keyring attached as well, which my husband bought me from, I can't remember where it's from. I think it might have been from the print studio he used to work at, which since closed last year. So yes, it's living in here. So what I'm doing is putting in the yarn colours I need for each part, and then the rest are staying in the box so that I can limit how much I'm actually carrying around with me. I'm working it up in a 3mm hook as opposed to the recommended 2.5 or 2.25, mainly because that's really small. So this is where it is currently at, and I'm going to leave all the ends hanging at the bottom. So I think last time I stopped at the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I stopped at the blue last month. So I've done the 3 pinks, the yellow and a purple row. And I've got 5 more rounds to go before I finish part 3. But it's growing quite nicely. And it's actually not that bad in terms of time. It does grow, and at the moment each round is not taking up loads of my time. I know that will change. But yeah, so at the moment it's doing okay. I still love the flower motif in the middle, and I love these double treble front posts. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop. But yes, so I've got green next to do, and I'll show you all again next month. So that is my Sophies Universe. I think once I get to square it off, I'll probably be a little bit more happier about it, because then I know it's progressing a bit more. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually, and I think the colours help with that. I love the colours because they're just so fun and vibrant. So yeah, I'll show you some more of that next month. And I think that is it for whips. So this is not a whip. It should be a whip, because it's meant to be for a baby girl who is due in May. I want to do the Briar Rose blanket to match the Little Prince Charming I did last year. And I've got, one of them is Yarn Bath, but I also have this one. And what I want to do is blend one to the other, like I did with the Little Prince Charming. I think I started the middle with the green, the green colourway of, I think it was called, the equivalent is Genie of Mandala yarns. And then I moved out into Spirit, which is the blue colourway with grey. And this time I want to do it in pinks and purples with the really pale, there's like a very pale minty colour in there as well with the white. But I can't decide which way to do it, whether to start with my Yarn Bath, which I think was Wood Nymph, can't remember, or start with this one. But then also, if I start with this one, do I start with the pink in the middle or the very pale pink on the outside? I think I'd have to start with a dark pink in the middle. But then for this one, I'd want to start with this colour in the middle. Anyway, let me know down below what you think I should be doing. Yarn bar first or cake first. I think there's enough here to do the whole blanket in the same way I did the Little Prince Charming one. So this is Hooked on Sunshine Briar Rose. I'll pop a picture up if I can find one of what it should look like when it's finished. Maybe that will help me decide if I actually look at the picture. But yes, this should be a baby blanket for my new niece who is due in May. And last time the blanket took me a good couple of months, so I need to get cracking. And last time she was a month early. So she could be due in April, which means I've only got a month. So I need to get cracking. So help me decide which one to start with. I do have other colour options, but I'm out of time now. I need to get cracking. So yes, that is living in a patchwork bag that I made at a class at Beautiful Things when I was learning to teach that class. So what's next? Now, I've noticed I have been talking for a long time. I may have gone a little bit fast as well because there's so much to talk about. What I think I'm actually going to do is do all my acquisitions in a separate video, purely because they might take me some time to get through. I can tell you now, I've got lots of yarn. I've got yarn from Ellen, who is Ellen Kellen, I think, on Instagram. I've got some from the Perf Collab Club. I've got my mini skein club from Vicky Brown's. I've got yarn and a bag from Gemma at the Midnight Dyery. I've got patches from Eris Apple. So I've got stitch markers, and there's a lot. So I'll pop that up as a separate video. But in the meantime, I also have some yarn dyeing to share with you. But again, I think that might have to be a separate, might do a vlog series actually of my yarn dyeing experiments. Just because I can go into a bit more detail over there then. So yeah, look out for those. I have a couple more things to talk to you about though. Okay, so last month I redrew the my podiversary giveaway prize, and it went to a lovely lady called Julie, who is actually local to me-ish. So I dropped it off to her on my way home from work one evening, and we actually stood around, socially distanced, for about an hour talking, just all things craft and crochet and different projects and stuff. And it was just really lovely to just stand around and talk to someone who had similar interests, who wasn't my husband or my son. And it's those sort of interactions that we are missing at the moment with the lockdowns. I mean, yes, I'm going to work, but I'm talking to children at work, not many staff at all. So actually, it was just lovely to speak to somebody else. We spent a good hour talking, and she loved her giveaway prize, which is great, but she wouldn't let me leave without giving me something in return. She also gave me a ball of King Cole Christmas, the King Cole Glitz in the Christmas colourway that I was looking for back in January. So I'm gonna have to make some more socks with that. But now I've seen these on other podcasts and never really looked into it because I felt like I already had the Crochet Society box. And that's how she found me actually. So hi Julie. So Julie found me from searching for Crochet Society unboxing videos and reviews and stuff. So it's really lovely to meet people that I wouldn't normally have met before. So I'm very thankful for that, especially in the pandemic as well. Meeting new people has been difficult. But yeah, so Julie also has a subscription to the Little Box of Crochet. Now I've seen the little boxes. This one's going to fall off my lap, it's too big. The little boxes, which apparently were the older boxes, and then they doubled them in size. Julie has given me one of those boxes. And it's not a small box. Yeah, so it is an Amigurumi project to make a mermaid, which is beautiful, and it all comes so lovely wrapped. You get like a postcard, so everything matches the box. You get a notebook, plain notebook, and then you get the pattern, which in itself is a book. And having looked through the book for the pattern, there is so many pictures for step-by-steps, and you get video tutorials. I don't think you need the video tutorials. There's so much detail in the pictures. So I'm going high pitched. I'm really looking forward to working this up. So thank you so much, Julie. I mean, look, this is upside down, but I don't care. All those beautiful colours. And then you've got like a bed of stuffing underneath. I haven't even looked underneath that. Yeah, it's just so lovely. Thank you so much. And I feel like I need to look into them a bit more now. Let's pop it all back together. I mean, you do get other little goodies in there as well, not just the kit. You also get a crochet hook. There's I think that you get a stitch marker and a darning needle as well. But it's just so well thought out. It's a lovely box. I just don't think I can afford to subscribe to this as well. And yeah, so thank you very, very much. I'm absolutely touched that you've decided to hand this over to me, and I look forward to actually working up that mermaid pattern, and I will definitely share with you my progress on that. So I don't know if it'll get done this month in March, but it has to be done soon because it's just lovely. So thank you again, Julie, and congratulations for being the winner last month. Okay, so just to wrap things up today then, I'm trying to add items to my new web shop. So hopefully at least once a week on a Saturday, but that's not necessarily going to be the case all the time. And it certainly won't be the case when I run out of items. But this month I did pop up I popped up a load of brooch pins. So there are some fans, there's some sewing machines, there's an elephant. I've only got one elephant. No, I've got loads. There's my little elephant. There are butterflies. There's some owls and some unicorns. So I popped up all my brooch pins basically, other than Christmas, and I say all of my brooch pins. That's 2 tubs worth. I've got another 3 tubs to do, of which 2 are Christmas, or at least 1 is Christmas pins. So I've got those uploaded. I also put up some jewellery this weekend just gone. And I put up a couple of pieces last month as well for that too. So it's getting there. It's just a little bit at a time. I do have so much stock, and where we haven't had the craft shows this year, it needs to be shown to the world. So I am gradually uploading it to the new web shop. I have since had 2 sales in February through my new shop, which I am so excited about. I'm hoping that it will continue, and yeah, so thank you. That kind of made my day. And they've both arrived with their new with the buyers, so I've been seeing lots of pictures over on Instagram pop up as well, which is really lovely to see. If you want to see updates on what is going into the shop, then head over to Instagram at the House of Langford, and I will be popping up pictures there when I find stuff, or when I take decent photos basically, of what will be heading into shore. into shop or store. One of the two. Into the shop. So yeah, if you want updates, then head over there. I'm not at the point of being able to compile a newsletter as yet. I might start doing one just for like a month. So a monthly newsletter as opposed to regular newsletter. So if you want to sign up to that, I will pop a box over on my new webshop. Again, links will be down there. I also dropped off the Perfect Pocket Shawl to my friend Annie, and she loves it. So yeah, I'm really grateful to have finished that for her, and I hope she enjoys wearing it. So lastly then, what are my plans for March? So with the announcements from Boris a couple of weeks ago, or even last week, schools are meant to be going back on the 8th of March. Don't know what that entails yet, and we've only got a week. So it's going to be a mixture of everything basically that we've been doing since the first lockdown. So whether that is remote teaching, so doing stuff online through Teams, whether that is we're also then supporting key workers students in school for those year groups that aren't necessarily in school. Is it going to be a staggered return for different year groups? So there's a lot going on, and that'll be a bit interesting. So I also want to try and finish another part of the Sophie. So as I said earlier, I want to try and do an hour a day on that one just to see how it goes. I've got that baby blanket to actually make, which it shouldn't take me long. The last one didn't. It was very quick to work up. Each round maybe took, I think the last round was probably the longest, obviously, because it's the biggest round. But yeah, so anyway, it took me about a couple of months to make that one. If I focus properly, it shouldn't take me a couple of months. It should take me a little bit less. So hopefully I can get that done this month, or at least part way, so it's almost ready when she has baby. I'm doing the 100 day project with my big cats project, my cross stitch. So I'm hoping to get that finished. Don't know if it'll be finished for the end of March, but we shall see. It certainly should be finished for April. So yeah, and then I've got to work out how to get it. I've got to work out then how to get it framed. Yeah. And then it'll be off to my dad, because originally I bought it for him to do, and knowing that he wouldn't do it and that I would end up having to do it for him. But I don't mind. Yeah, I've got the samurai to take its place once I finish that, and the last thing was that I found the Easter decorations to work up. So that is pretty much my plans for the month. The Granny Rocks jumper is getting no love at the moment because I've got all these other projects I need doing, and I don't mind, because either way I've still got another wearable cardigan. But the Granny Rocks is a jumper, which I kind of need, and I know that by the time I finish it, it will be hot, so I won't need it. Yeah, what else is there to talk to you about? I want to try and read a book. I have not read a proper book in a very long time. Last year during lockdown, I started reading stories on my phone using an app called Dream with an E at the end. Mostly werewolf stories. I'm into the fantasy stuff, and mostly teen fiction as well. So I liked the Divergent series. I've read pretty much all of the Mortal Instruments. No, so I've read almost all of the Shadowhunter books, which includes the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, the Clockwork series. Then you've got a couple of extra ones as well. I've got 2 that I haven't read. One of them came out, I think, very beginning of last year. There's another one due out this year, and that is Chain of Gold. So I want to have a go at reading that. My worry though is that I will end up just sitting there reading that book and doing nothing else, because I love the stories. Do you have any books like that? Are there any books that you have read that you just get trapped in and do not do anything else? I also have the Philip Pullman trilogy, his Dark Materials. I've read it before when I was a teenager, but I bought the book that has all three in one for my son a couple of years ago, I think, or it might have been not last year, the year before, so that he could have a read of it, and never did. So I've stolen that back, and I'm hoping to just read through those. But yeah, so that's February and my plans for March. Anyway, yeah, there is a lot to talk about in my acquisitions, so I will do that separately for you. In the meantime, I think that is it for creative content anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and what I've been getting up to for February, and I look forward to seeing you all again at the end of March. And as always, I will link everything down below for you that I've mentioned or discussed. Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again at the end of March. Take care. Bye.